Hi, welcome to I Have a Dream Show. I'm your host, Princess Fizz. Guys, so sorry that it took us a while to go live, but some technical difficulties. This particular show is sponsored by SoloAdsAgency. It's the best premium traffic for home business owners. So, courtesy of being a Dream Show viewer, you get 30 minutes free traffic consultation. So, there's a banner below. Just click that after the show and you can register for free 30-minute consultation, okay? So do that. Wow, I've got an amazing show for you today. Those that are new here, thank you very much for joining. It's a web TV interactive show where I bring on six, seven, eight-figure earners from around the world that are successful entrepreneurs. And what they do is they share their journey with you guys, right? They share their journey, exactly what they went through, the struggles they went through, the challenges they faced. And the purpose of the show is to help you find someone that you can model, right? So to model success, to get success quickly, you model someone. It's the best way to do it. It will save you decades, and all the time it took them to figure it out, you can actually pick it up very, very quickly and get started. So today we are particularly talking about a system called global wealth trade, and we'll be talking about exactly what it is, what the system's about, why it would suit you, why you should join it, and what kind of success you can actually expect out of it. And I couldn't bring on a better person than a top multi-millionaire earner in global wealth trade. And it's Reza. I'm going to find difficulty pronouncing it. Sorry, is it Mesgarlou? Coming in live from America, Canada. Thank you so much, Reza, for joining the show today.
My pleasure.
Now, guys, it's hard to get hold of these entrepreneurs, okay? So I really want you to make most of the show. It's interactive, so do ask questions or anything that you may have, any kind of burning questions that you may have below this window, and I'll address them throughout the show. So Reza, he's been into network marketing for a while now, and it's took him quite some time to figure out his home, right? And he worked 80-hour weeks in restaurants. So I'm going to let him tell the story of how he actually got to where he is today. Reza, can I ask you to share your journey? If you can go back to school times, perhaps. Did you leave school? Did you complete education? What happened around that time?
Well, it was a pleasure being here. Thanks for having me on this show. Basically, I want to try to make it as simple and quick to the point as possible. Well, when I was in high school, I remember every one of us were told that we need to, go to university, get the highest level of education, and so on and so forth, and that way we can have a good job, and we can have a steady job, steady income. That way we can.
That's the matrix, more like.
Then we can grow old, and that way we can retire. At the time, it was 65 years of age. You could have retired, and basically have those golden years.
Right.
That's something that we're all programmed with, and it's no different from me, except I was never really thinking that job was the answer to what I wanted to be at the early age. And when I started, I used to compete. I used to wrestle for Team Canada, and I had some athletic scholarships. So I did continue education, of course, and when I was burning out of high school, I was trying to figure out how to, get ahead in life besides just going to school. And got into restaurant business. Actually, I was 20 years of age when I bought my very first restaurant. And quickly, shortly after that, we ended up having a restaurant franchise.
Wow.
And, here I was, 22 years of age, had a restaurant franchise, ended up not completing university because of it. I was making good money. I'm not going to say I was not. I was making good money. I was a 22-year-old with 3 hot cars, 2 houses, but no time to enjoy it. And I'm like, okay, this equation doesn't work. I got these beautiful cars. I got this beautiful home. And here I am working 8 hours a week, and there's no way around it. and I looked at it as anytime in the near future, can I do this? And at the time, being in the early 90s, we had a little recession then at the time, and I see people I knew closely were closing the doors. And I'm like, oh my God, this restaurant's been around for 30 years, and what's happening? And panic sets in. So I thought, okay, I definitely don't want to be away from my restaurants because it's my livelihood. At the same time, I can't see it getting any easier. If it feels this bad at the age of 22, how is it going to feel at the age of 60? I'm like, okay, we need to look for something else. And that's when one of my...
Before you go ahead, Reza, before you go ahead, right, how did you even know about starting your own business? Did you have inspiration around you? Like, did you have friends that were business owners? How did you even know that you had to start your own business?
Yes, I did. It's my mom.
Your mom? Right.
My mom. She basically was at the beginning, she was the different one in her family. Being the one of the 5 kids, second youngest, as actually, and being a girl, and coming from a religious family. The parents basically what they wanted to do was those days, I guess, from what I'm told, she would go to school up to grade 6 usually. Then they would marry her off, and education is not needed. You go make your kids, cook your food. The husband was semi-wealthy, so he'd be able to provide, and you do. And she went against all of that. She went all the way to university, even though she was married to him, even though he was not supportive. She ended up getting a job, and even though he was not supportive, and she ended up going all the way to becoming an ambassador for the Persian government. So even though he was not supportive, and it was her vision to, do all these things, and everything she ever envisioned, she accomplished. And one of the things was that she used to always tell us that, listen, if there is something out there that you do want, and we saw it. I mean, we witnessed it. Maybe we were children, but we could see what she was doing, working for the Ministry of Health during the day, going to university at night, and to better herself so she can go to external affairs, and so on and so forth. So she always said, if there's something out there that you really want, you go for it. Don't let no one dictate to you what you can or cannot have. And against all odds, she went all the way to the very top. I mean, you could imagine the Persian government, she's going all the way to becoming an ambassador. That's just absolutely crazy.
That's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And I think having that type of role model in your home, it helps you have a passion, it helps you have a vision, it helps you kind of open your mind to what can be expected of you, and helps you make decisions very quickly, doesn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because thinking of what she's done, which I don't want to take too much on that, it was just unbelievable. Even to her own family, she always said another thing is that if there is something out there that you want, whether it's a supercar, whether it's a super house, whether it's an island of your own, whatever it is that you want out there, you truly want out there, says go and get it. Don't think about if I'm going to be able to pay for it. Figure out a way how you're going to pay for it.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah, and that's another thing always stuck in my head because she was 16 years of age or 17 barely, married, 1 kid. She buys the biggest house in the best part of the city with appliances that like some 35 years later it was like, wow, where did you buy these appliances? So she did that at the early age of 70. So I guess that's how myself, my brother, we became who we are because, thinking of a 20-year-old owning a restaurant franchise, something that's already up and running and, big investment, you would think like, wow, how did they do this? Parents must have helped them out, right? But this is that's how we were wired, I guess, through genetics, I guess, and mentorship, yes.
Yes. Excellent. Now, Reza, there's a misconception in the idea of business owners that you have to work really hard to get success, right? So from what I can see, when you started your restaurant business, you were working very, very hard, and 80-hour weeks. I mean, they're crazy. That's just crazy time. How did you figure out that there is a better way than that, or was that something that you stuck with for a while?
This has always been. This is something that we've all been dictated to. This is what we've been brainwashed with. That You got to work really, really hard to get to, go to school and finish education and work really hard. And I was even told by my grandparents that, listen, I used to hear my grandparents talking to my uncles, and listen, as long as you're willing to, give 10 hours worth of work for 8 hours worth of pay, you will always have a job no matter how bad the economy. I
Right.
used to hear that from him all the time. Give 10 hours worth of work for 8 hours worth of pay, and you will be okay. You'll always have a job. Don't worry about who's getting laid off or not.
Right.
And he goes, most people want to give you 6 hours worth of work, 8 hours worth of pay, and they want to go to the rights. I got the rights to do this. I got the rights to do that. I got to take my lunch. I got my sick days and so on. Well, great. But guess what? When things get tough, those are the very first people who are going to be let go, one way or the other. They're going to keep it forever. So this is something there's a lot of truth to it, but at the same time, um, when I heard about direct sales, the concept got my attention. That's when I was in the restaurant. We had a good customer that came over and basically said to me, Reza, Ramin, you're in the wrong business. We got to get into direct sales
Right.
because we're in the carpet cleaning business, like carpet installation business, and so on. And we said, what are you talking about? And he basically showed us the concept of direct sales.
Right.
Um, that's when I looked at it briefly. I got to mention, mind you, because I was busy. I looked at it briefly and I'm like, okay, I've heard of similar things in the past, but every single one of them I heard of because I'd never given the time to pay attention to what direct sales was. It seemed like every one of them I heard of somehow wasn't around anymore. So I'm like, okay, the concept is great. That's why it's probably not around because it's too good to be true.
Yes.
But he was persistent. He was persistent. He came by and we had conversations, and I'm like, this is brilliant. We can do some great work for the next 3 to 5 years and be able to enjoy the rest of our lives. So, sort of like musicians and authors and so on and so forth. They do a great work once and enjoy forever. That would be just brilliant, but I knew I don't know how to sing. I knew I can't play music. I'm not an author, so at the time I couldn't sit down and write a book to, make my royalties from it. So what can I do? What can someone average individual like me to be able to get started so I can enjoy my, royalties for years to come?
Right.
And when I saw the direct industry closer, and I said, okay, just like most people, I joined, and it was a health and wellness program, unfortunately. Why I say unfortunately is because
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to knock it down because that's where I come from.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I was at that for about 16 years.
Right.
Was with the health and wellness program, and at the time, being early 90s, there were not that many. We had like a couple of, there was some, but really not that many. And there was the usual Herbalife, and there was the usual Melaleuca was just up and coming, and there was some but it wasn't like what it is today.
Right.
Today it's like, oh my God, everywhere you turn, someone's opened a company somewhere, and everyone's got the recipe for success. Every single one of them has got the recipe for success. And so myself, I went on to join about 4 programs. The first one was 7.5 years full time. I
Wow.
did great. I did great. I mean, I'm not going to say I didn't. That was my first experience in direct sales. I did really good. I got rid of the restaurants. I did it for 7.5 years. I was this 22-year-old making upward of 25,000 per month. I guess today's money that would be around 40, 45, 50,000 a month.
Right.
And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I loved the time freedom. I did a lot of traveling. I learned a lot. But one thing I came to learn really quick was that, initially I blamed the company, obviously, even though that company is still around. I
Right.
blamed the company. There was some to blame. There was some myself to be blamed with. But what happened was I noticed my checks dropping quickly from 25,000 a month to about $2,500 a month. And I'm like, what is going on? What is happening? And one of the main things I learned was, I'm getting paid only so many levels deep.
Right.
Why can't I get paid till infinity? But that's not how the compensation plan was geared in that program. You got paid so many levels deep, and we all know most of our volumes come from depth. So that was one area that I got, was like a breakaway. I was not getting paid on where the actual volume was. I remember we had $4 million a month worth of volume going to Philippines, which I was not getting paid on. It was the thing was, oh, it's Reza's team, but Reza wasn't getting paid on it. So that was one thing I learned. Another thing I learned was I needed to have unique products. By this time, there was every other program, every other company had this magic juice, this weight loss shake that made you lose 100 pounds on the weekend. They had products that made people, cure cancer over, you take it the next week, you'll be cancer free, all kinds of bogus claims. And it became that way. People were starting to make claims because the competition was so stiff. They started saying stuff that they shouldn't have said for the simple fact that there was so many great products. I got to admit, there's great products through direct sales. I mean, I still use the same products from my very first program some 20 years ago, 24 years ago. So obviously the products are great, but everyone have great products. Everyone have similar great products. So vast choices, and now compensation plan, again, what makes some people make a move, even though 95%, in my opinion, 95% of the population do not understand their own compensation plan. It's just, it all looks good on paper, or really if you dig in, you'll see that these compensation plans are written, in my opinion, written in purpose in a way that you do not understand it. Because if you fully understand it, you're going to realize any company that has ranks, levels, auto ship, for example, is another area we'll talk about, but ranks and levels, and if a company is bonus based, which means most people will not be able to get these bonuses. There's a lot of things I learned in that 16 years with 4 different companies of what to look for and what not to look for. So
okay, can I just stop you a minute, guys? Thank you very much for asking questions. The questions are pouring in, Reza. Right, but there's one particular one. I think we need to be very, very simple in explaining what is a compensation plan. We've got Laura asking what a
compensation plan is. The way you get paid from a company.
Right.
If you're thinking of joining direct sales company, much like A1 and Mary Kay and Shaqir and Tupperware, these are some of the companies in direct sales. You got to understand how you get paid. In a traditional world, you exchange time for money. Okay, you go to work for 8 hours, and you get paid for 8 hours minus your taxes and so on. In direct sales, you're a subcontractor per se. You get paid 100% of what you have put together. You and your team have put together, like your commissions, and you submit usually your own taxes. But most companies, the way the compensation plan works is unfortunately not as simple as the traditional jobs. You go there, they tell you if you do this, you get paid this. If you do that, you get paid that. But then when you don't get paid that, you question, and how come I didn't get paid that? They're going to say, well, because you didn't reach this rank or level, or the person below you did. So it's very, very complicated in some cases.
Right, okay, that's fine. Excellent. Thank you very much, Laura, for asking that question. We'll go into a little bit more detail on why, I'm getting questions on why Global Wealth Trade has got a good compensation plan, but we'll address that as we go along. So Reza, as you were going along, so obviously you've got a lot of experience with compensation plans, and especially being involved with different kind of products, and it, like a franchisee, isn't it? You choose a company and you're like an affiliate of that company, using their products, their name, their branding, and then you promote them forward, right? And the compensation plan, that is where the success lies. How good it is, how easy is it to kind of make money with? Is it limited to how much effort you put in? So as you went along, can you tell me what happened after that then? So your first healthcare product, or what health products that you did, what did you do after that?
After that, I figured, this is definitely, like I said, I blame the company for some of the reasons why we did not continue. Actually, I did not quit. I sort of stopped building, and because I'm trying to scratch my head, I'm looking at my products. I'm looking at next company's products that I lost people to, and I'm looking at their compensation plan, and their compensation plan is not any better. It's actually worse. And the products, okay, it's a matter of opinion, but compensation plan, anyone who understands it, was a worse compensation plan than ours. So why are people jumping ship? So next program I started to build was not in health and wellness. It was in high tech and telecommunication. I figured I got the answer. I'm going to join a high tech and telecommunication company.
Yeah.
Because this is where so-called, I don't know many companies that are in that segment.
Right.
And I joined, and guess what? I started doing great. I started doing so great. I was just blown away. I'm like, oh my God, I should have done this a long time ago. And not wanting to cross, my contract with my previous program, which I was still getting paid from, even though it wasn't much. It wasn't for the sake of me getting paid, but it was just to be decent, not to just cross recruit, not to bring people from one company to the next, contract. So I started building it hard. People started taking notice. I was doing so great. I I was sitting I remember I had purchased a brand new 7-seater BMW, white one, blue leather interior, sitting there, smile ear to ear. I was so happy, enjoying my coffee in a parking lot Saturday afternoon, only for one of my leaders to call me in. This is 6 months into this program. For one of my leaders to call me in, I still have 3 of the checks in my hand. I haven't cashed yet.
Wow.
They're all dollars. So I have upward of about $17,000 in checks in my hand, 3 checks because they paid weekly. I'm looking at it, smile ear to ear, and I'm feeling good. I'm like, okay, we finally got it. We finally got it. We finally got it.
You finally got the system, yes.
I get a phone call, and one of my leaders tell me, you're here. I'm like, did I hear what? He goes, about the company. I'm like, what about it? He goes, they got shut down. I'm like, what are you talking about? I says, if you're joking, it's not a good way to joke. He says, listen, I am telling you, I'm devastated. They got shut down. And I'm like, what do you mean got shut down? Anyways, make a long story short, it was true. It was true. A great owner, a great company, great program, but the owner had not done his homework. And because of it, they got shut down overnight. Overnight. It was like, oh my God. So make a long story short.
You didn't get paid for all that work that you put in?
No, I didn't. Because it got shut down. You know what I mean? The U.S. government shut them down.
My goodness, yes. So didn't that kind of put you off, Reza, at that point?
Oh, I got really upset. I'm like, what is going on? Like any normal human being would. We were hoping that they're going to reopen because that's what they said. They're going to get things sorted out. They're going to reopen. And next thing I know, somebody else bought their list, and they're trying to get it going in a different program, which I'm not good with. I mean, I joined this company, not for you to hand me out to someone else, the list. So I didn't pursue that. And I went on to do 2 other programs, Princess. I went into it for 2 other programs, total of 16 years. I tried it every which way. I did great in every company, except 16 years later, I'm driving at nighttime in my vehicle, bitter as hell. I have people that I brought into the industry who want to make $12 million, $10 million, $8 million, $5 million. These are the people who brought in the company, in the industry. And they all happen to choose the right companies. They happen to end up with the right, so-called right companies. And here we are the ones who taught them everything they know. And here we are, companyless. So I'm like, oh,